November 1992, Brooklyn Federal Courthouse. A man sits at the witness stand, short, powerfully built, 47 years old. Across from him at the defense table sits another man, tall, handsome, expensive suit. These two men worked together for 20 years, side by side, like brothers. The courtroom is completely silent, 300 people holding their breath. Even the judge looks tense. FBI agents in the front row, reporters ready, pens hovering over paper. The witness leans into the microphone, hands steady, no trembling, no fear. The prosecutor asks his name, Salvatore Gravano. His nickname, Sammy the Bull. At the defense table, the other man smiles, but his eyes, cold as ice. John Gotti, boss of the Gambino crime family, America's most famous mob boss, the man they called the Teflon Don. Nothing ever stuck to him. Until now. The prosecutor steps forward. One final question. Why are you here today, Mr. Gravano? Sammy takes a deep breath. 20 years of friendship, 20 years of brotherhood, 20 years of secrets, all ending with one sentence. To testify against John Gotti. The courtroom explodes, cameras flashing like lightning, reporters jumping to their feet, security rushing forward, the judge pounding his gavel, but nobody listens. This is history, the biggest betrayal the American mob has ever seen. Sammy the Bull Gravano, the most loyal soldier, turning on his boss, breaking Omerta. But the real shock, the real story lies buried in the past. Nobody knows how this betrayal began. What ended 20 years of brotherhood in an instant? Why did Sammy do it? The answer lies 7 years earlier, 1985, a cold winter night in the heart of Manhattan, when everything changed. December 1985, New York City. Snow was falling that night, heavy, wet flakes, the kind that sticks. The street in front of Sparks Steakhouse was slowly turning white. It was 5:30 p.m. rush hour. Cars honking, people hurrying home, Christmas lights glowing in windows, the holiday season. Inside Sparks Steakhouse, everything felt normal. White tablecloths, crystal glasses, expensive wine. The smell of steak and garlic, laughter, conversation, life going on. Nobody knew. Outside, in the darkness. 4 men were waiting, standing on the corner. Long black coats, Russian-style fur hats pulled low, faces hidden, hands deep in their pockets, pockets full of guns, semi-automatic pistols loaded, ready. They weren't talking, just waiting, watching. A few blocks away, Sammy Gravano sat in his car, a dark blue Lincoln, engine running, heat on, watching the street through the windshield, watching the snow. His hands gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. His heart was beating fast, faster than normal. Tonight was different. Tonight, everything would change. Sammy Gravano was 40 years old, short, 5'5", but powerfully built, 200 pounds, all muscle, broad shoulders stretching his coat, thick arms, thick neck, a boxer's body, 20 years on the street, 20 years in this life. His face was hard, weathered, scarred, a broken nose from too many fights, thick eyebrows, dark eyes, eyes that had seen too much and done too much. When people looked into Sammy's eyes, they understood immediately. This was a man who had killed, not once, not twice, many times. No one knew the exact number, maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe 19. It didn't matter anymore. After the first few, they all blurred together. Faces, names, blood, just business, nothing personal. In the passenger seat, Frank DeTico sat quietly. Frank was different, tall, almost 6 feet, thin, sharp features, always well-dressed. Frank was a smooth talker. He could convince anyone of anything. Diplomacy was Frank's weapon. Sammy broke bones, Frank broke wills. They were a perfect team. "How long do we wait?" Frank asked. His voice was calm, almost relaxed, no tension. Sammy checked his watch. A gold Rolex, a gift from the family. 5 minutes, he said, maybe less. Frank nodded, lit a cigarette, took a slow drag. "You nervous?" Sammy looked at him, smiled slightly. No. He was lying. Of course he was nervous. What they were about to do had never been done before, not like this, not this openly, not this boldly. They were going to kill a boss, not just any boss, the boss. The head of the Gambino crime family, Paul Castellano, Big Paul, the man who ran New York. Paul Castellano was 70 years old, tall, heavy, nearly 300 pounds, white hair, always perfectly combed. Paul didn't love the streets anymore. He hadn't for years. He lived in his mansion on Staten Island. Tot Hill, a massive white house, white marble columns, a swimming pool, manicured gardens. They called it the White House. And Paul lived like a president, distant, removed, untouchable. Paul no longer cared for street business, gambling, loan sharking, drugs, violence, dirty work. Beneath him now, Paul saw himself as a businessman, legitimate, almost legitimate, Italian suits, country clubs, golf, lawyers, accountants, construction contracts, real estate deals. But the men on the street felt it. They talked about it in social clubs, over espresso, over card games. "The boss is too far away," they said. "He doesn't understand us anymore. We're making money, and we never see him. He lives like a king," they whispered, "while we do the dirty work." The resentment grew, quietly, slowly, spreading like a virus, and Sammy felt it too. Frank spoke again. "You sure about this?" Sammy stared out the windshield. The snow, the people, normal people going home, safe, unaware of what was coming. "Yes," Sammy said. His voice was firm, no doubt. "Paul has to go." "What if we're wrong?" Frank asked. "We're not wrong." Frank took another drag. "One more thing," he said. "What about John?" Sammy smiled, a cold smile. John Gotti. John Gotti was 45 years old, 5'10", ruggedly handsome, sharp features, strong jaw, dark eyes that sparkled when he smiled. And John smiled a lot, charismatic, magnetic. People were drawn to him, had to be drawn to him. John had that thing, that indefinable quality that made people want to follow him, please him, be near him. But what really set John apart was his style. The man dressed like a movie star. Expensive suits, always expensive, $3,000, sometimes $5,000. Italian silk, custom tailored, fit perfectly. Bold colored silk ties, pocket squares, gold cufflinks, shiny leather shoes, crocodile skin. His hair was always perfect, slicked back with gel, not a hair out of place. The newspapers loved him. They'd given him a nickname, the Dapper Don, the stylish boss, the gangster who looked like a CEO. John was very different from Sammy. Sammy was quiet. John was loud. Sammy stayed in the shadows. John loved the spotlight, craved it. Sammy planned carefully, thought everything through. John wanted action, wanted it now, didn't like waiting, didn't like thinking too much. But despite their differences, they shared one important thing. They both loved the street, loved this life. Couldn't imagine doing anything else. Paul made a critical mistake. He talked too much. And the FBI was listening to every word. 1984. Federal Plaza, Manhattan. Bruce Mau sat at his desk. 6th floor, FBI headquarters, New York field office. His desk was covered with files, photographs, surveillance reports, wiretap transcripts, all about one thing, the Gambino crime family. Bruce was 45 years old, tall, thin, graying hair, wire-rimmed glasses, looked like an accountant, not an FBI agent, but that's what made him dangerous. Nobody saw him coming. Bruce headed a special unit, C-16, the Gambino Squad, 12 agents, single mission, destroy the Gambino family. They'd been working for 10 years, surveillance, wiretaps, informants, slow, careful work, building a case, brick by brick, and now, finally, they had an opportunity. Paul Castellano. "We need to get inside his house," Bruce said. His team sat around the conference table. It took months of planning, legal paperwork, federal judges, search warrants, court orders. But finally, in early 1984, they got approval, Operation Castellano, to plant bugs in Paul's house, his mansion, the White House on Staten Island. The installation happened on a Tuesday morning. Paul was out, at a meeting with his lawyers. FBI agents disguised as repairmen entered the house. Paul's housekeeper let them in. Thought they were there to fix the heating. The agents worked fast, planted bugs in 5 rooms, kitchen most important. Paul did business there, sat at the table, drank coffee, made calls, gave orders, living room, dining room, study, even the bedroom. Tiny microphones, smaller than 4 inches, hidden in light fixtures, phone jacks, behind picture frames, almost invisible. State of the art. The agents finished in 3 hours, left. Paul never knew. The recording started immediately. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, everything Paul said, every phone call, every conversation, every meeting, all recorded, saved, transcribed. Bruce Mau listened to hours of tape every day, wearing headphones, taking notes. At first it was boring, Paul talking to his wife, complaining about his health, his heart, his diabetes, talking about TV shows, dinner plans, normal things. But then gold. Paul was careless, incredibly careless, talked openly about business, in his own house, used real names, John Gotti, Sammy Gravano, Frank DeCicco, Angelo Ruggiero, dozens of names, discussed operations. Sammy will handle the construction deal. John needs to talk to those guys about the Brooklyn territory. We're making $2 million a month from the concrete business. Talked about murders, past murders, future murders. That guy's a problem. Needs to be handled. Make it clean. Bruce couldn't believe it. A mob boss, talking like this in his own house. It was a gift. Absolute gift. We got him, Bruce told his team. We got them all. November 1985. The arrests happened early in the morning. FBI agents at Paul's door. 6 a.m., battering ram. FBI, search warrant. They stormed in, found Paul in his bathrobe, shocked, confused. What's this about? They arrested him, handcuffs, walked him out in front of his neighbors. Cameras everywhere, news crews, photographers, humiliating, exactly how the FBI wanted it. Same day they arrested 16 more, coordinated raids. Sammy Gravano, arrested at his house in Brooklyn, his wife screaming, his daughter crying, "Daddy, don't go." But he went. John Gotti, arrested at the Ravenite, didn't resist, just smiled at the cameras, always performing. Frank DeCicco, Angelo Ruggiero, one by one, all the major players. By noon, they were all in custody. The arraignment was quick. Federal court, Brooklyn. The judge read the charges: extortion, illegal gambling, loan sharking, murder conspiracy, evidence, FBI recordings, hundreds of hours. Paul's own voice, incriminating himself, incriminating everyone. The prosecutor stood. "Your Honor, the government believes these men are flight risks and dangers to the community. We request they be held without bail." Paul's lawyer objected, argued. But it didn't matter. The evidence was overwhelming. The judge set bail, $3 million each. Paul could afford it, paid the bail within hours. So did most of the others, walked out of the courthouse, free, for now. But the trial was coming, and the evidence was devastating. Ravenite Social Club 2 days later. John Gotti sat at a table, angry, absolutely furious. Sammy sat across from him, Frank DeTico beside him. The club was empty except for them. They'd swept for bugs, made sure. "How did they get all this?" John said. His voice was quiet, a dangerous quiet. "The house," Sammy said. "They bugged Paul's house. How?" "Don't know, but it's bad." John slammed his fist on the table, coffee cups jumped. "That idiot. Talking in his own house, talking about business, using our names." Frank lit a cigarette. "What do we do?" "Us?" John laughed, bitter. "Paul did this. Paul's gonna fix it. How?" John leaned back, eyes cold. "He'll make a deal with the FBI, save himself, throw us all under the bus." Sammy's stomach turned. "You sure?" "I'm sure. I know Paul, know how he thinks. He's not a street guy, never was. He's a businessman, and businessmen make deals." John was right. Within a week, Paul met with his lawyers, discussed his options. The evidence was bad, very bad, his own voice on tape, talking about crimes, saying names, ordering murders. He was facing 20 years minimum, maybe life. He was 70 years old, couldn't do 20 years, wouldn't survive. His health was failing, heart problems, diabetes, high blood pressure, prison would kill him. "What are my options?" Paul asked his lawyer. The lawyer sighed, adjusted his glasses. "You can fight it, go to trial, hope the jury doesn't believe the tapes, or you cooperate, make a deal with the government, testify, get your sentence reduced." Paul was quiet for a long time, staring at the wall. His whole life he'd lived by one rule, Omerta. Never talk to the cops, never cooperate, never betray the family. It was the most sacred rule. Break it and you die. Everyone knows that. But 20 years in prison, that was death too. "If I cooperate," Paul said slowly. "How much time?" 5 years maybe. With good behavior, maybe 3. Paul nodded, thinking, calculating. "Let me think about it." But the lawyer saw it in his eyes. Paul had already decided. The news spread fast, faster than Paul expected. Someone in the lawyer's office talked, maybe a secretary, maybe a clerk, didn't matter who. The information got out. Within days, it reached the streets. Paul's making a deal, going to cooperate, talk to the FBI, give up names, testify. The reaction was immediate. Shock, anger, rage. He can't do that. A boss doesn't talk, ever. This breaks everything, everything we believe in. John Gotti heard the news. At the Ravenite, someone came in, whispered in his ear. John's face turned red, then white. Then he smiled. That cold smile. "I knew it. God damn it, I knew it. Sammy was there. You sure it's true?" "It's true. Paul's done. We can't let him testify." "No," John said, "we can't." Frank leaned forward. "So what do we do?" John looked at both of them. "We kill him." Silence in the room. Heavy silence. Killing a boss. Unthinkable. Against all the rules. The commission, the ruling body of the 5 families, would never approve. You couldn't kill a boss. Not without permission. Not without a sit-down. Not without consensus. But John didn't care about the rules, not anymore. "The commission won't approve," Frank said. "Fuck the commission. Think they'll approve? After we explain why? After we tell them Paul's cooperating, breaking Omerta? They'll thank us." Frank wasn't convinced. Neither was Sammy. But they understood one thing. Paul had to go. If Paul testified, they would all go to prison. For life. Paul, and everyone he worked with. Dozens of men, families destroyed, children growing up without fathers, wives left alone. All because Paul was scared. Because he was weak. How do we do it? Sammy asked. John smiled. Open. What? Open, Manhattan, on the street. He leaned forward. We want everyone to see, we want everyone to know. This is what happens when you break Omerta, when you talk. Frank shook his head. That's insane. Suicide. The cops will come down on us. So what? John said. We'll be gone before they arrive, and they won't know who did it. They can't prove anything, trust me. Sammy looked at Frank. Frank looked at Sammy, both thinking the same thing. This was insane, completely insane, but also, it might work. When? Sammy asked. Soon, John said. Paul's got a meeting at Sparks Steakhouse, December 16th. Dinner reservation, 6 o'clock. How do you know? John tapped his nose. I've got friends, people who tell me things. He leaned in. Here's the plan. December 16th, 1985. That day. The morning was cold, gray, snow clouds hanging low. Sammy woke up early, couldn't sleep. His wife, Deborah, noticed. You okay? I'm fine. You sure? I said I'm fine. She knew better than to ask more. She'd been married to him long enough. She knew when to ask questions and when to stay quiet. This was a stay quiet day. Sammy dressed. Dark pants, dark shirt, dark jacket. Deborah watched him. You coming home tonight? Yes. What time? Late. She nodded, kissed him. Be careful. Always. Sammy drove to Brooklyn, met Frank at a diner, sat in a booth, ordered coffee, didn't touch it. You ready? Frank asked. Yes. Nervous? No. He was lying again. Of course he was nervous. They were about to kill a boss. In the open. In Manhattan. During rush hour. If something went wrong, they'd all die or go to prison for life. But if it worked, John would be the new boss, and Sammy, underboss, second in command. Real power, real money, worth the risk, maybe. The shooters arrived at 4 p.m. 4 men. Sammy knew them all, made men, loyal to John, loyal to the cause. They rehearsed the plan, again, and again, and again. Paul arrives at 6. He'll have a driver, Thomas Bellotti, his bodyguard. You take both. Both? Both. Fast, clean. Then you leave. Don't run, walk. Get in the cars, drive normal. We'll be watching. If anything goes wrong, we handle it. The 4 men nodded, put on their coats, long black coats, Russian-style hats, faces hidden. They checked their guns, semi-automatic pistols, loaded, ready. At 5:30, Sammy and Frank drove to Manhattan, parked 2 blocks from Sparks. Engine running, heat on, waiting, watching. John was in another car, 1 block away, also watching. Everyone in position, everyone ready. 5:45. Snow started falling, heavy flakes, sticking to the ground. People rushing home, Christmas shopping, holiday season. Nobody paying attention. Perfect. 5:50. Sammy's radio crackled. John's voice. Car approaching, black Lincoln. It's him. Sammy's heart started pounding. This was it. No turning back now. He watched the street, saw the Lincoln coming, slow, looking for parking. It found it, right in front of Sparks. Perfect, like it was meant to be. The car stopped. The back door opened. Paul Castellano stepped out. Gray coat, camel hair, expensive, white hair perfectly combed. He looked old, fragile. Thomas Bellotti stepped out on the other side. Shorter, stockier, younger. Paul's protector, supposedly tough. We'd see. The 2 men started toward the restaurant. Paul walked slowly, old man steps, and then the 4 men moved, stepped out of the shadows, advanced, hands coming out of pockets, guns appearing. Paul saw them, stopped, eyes widening, mouth opening, maybe to scream, maybe to beg, didn't matter. Bang! The first shot hit Paul in the chest. He staggered back. Bang! Bang! Two more. One to the head. Paul collapsed, hit the ground, blood spreading, mixing with the snow, red and white. Thomas Bellotti tried to run, tried to reach for his gun. Too slow. Bang! 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 3 shots. He fell too, right next to Paul. 10 seconds. 6 shots. 2 men gone. Inside the restaurant, people screamed, dived under tables, chaos. Outside, the 4 shooters walked away, calm, methodical. They got into 2 cars, drove off, normal speed, no rush. They melted into traffic. Sammy watched it all, from his car, 2 blocks away. He saw the bodies, saw the blood, saw people running, screaming. He felt nothing, just relief. It was done. Paul was gone. Sammy started the car, drove away, slowly, carefully. No one stopped him. No one even looked. Frank sat beside him, silent, then finally spoke. It's done. Yes. John's the boss now. Yes. You think we'll get away with it? Sammy looked at him. We better. They drove back to Brooklyn, to the Ravenite. John was already there, sitting at a table drinking espresso, calm, smiling, like nothing had happened. It done? John asked. It's done, Sammy said. John nodded, stood up, shook Sammy's hand, shook Frank's hand. We're gonna run this city, John said. The 3 of us together. Nothing can stop us now. Sammy wanted to believe him, wanted to believe they'd get away with it, that the FBI wouldn't figure it out, that the commission wouldn't retaliate, that everything would be okay. But deep down, in a place he didn't like to admit, he knew. This was the beginning of the end. They had started a war they couldn't win. The next morning, the newspapers exploded. Mob boss murdered. Mafia execution in Manhattan. Castellano shot in rush hour. Headlines everywhere, the New York Times, the Daily News, the New York Post. Photos of Paul's body, blood on snow. The whole city was talking about it. America was shocked. A mob boss, executed in the open in the middle of Manhattan at dinner time. Unprecedented, bold, terrifying. Nobody knew who did it. The FBI moved fast. Bruce Mao was furious. His case, his tapes, his prosecution, gone. Paul Castellano was supposed to testify, to flip, to give them everyone. Now he was dead. The investigation was back to square one. Who did this? Bruce's boss asked. I don't know. You have an idea. Bruce nodded slowly. John Gotti. Can you prove it? Not yet. Then get me proof. Proof was hard to find. The shooters were professionals. No witnesses who could identify them. Hats hid their faces, coats hid their bodies. They walked away calmly, got into cars, disappeared. The guns were never found, probably dumped in the East River, gone forever. No fingerprints, no DNA, no evidence. John Gotti had planned it perfectly. 2 weeks later, the commission met. The ruling body of the 5 families, Genovese, Lucchese, Colombo, Bonanno, Gambino. They met in secret, upstate New York. Private property, no bugs, no surveillance. They discussed Paul's murder. Who authorized this? Vincent Cingigante asked, boss of the Genovese family, the most powerful man in the room. Silence. Then John Gotti spoke. I did. More silence. Dangerous silence. You killed a boss without permission, Chin said. His voice was quiet, deadly. Paul was going to cooperate, John said. Talk to the FBI. Break Omerta. Destroy us all. You have proof? I have sources, good sources. Paul's own lawyer. Breaking Omerta was the greatest sin. If Paul was really going to talk, killing him was justified. Finally, Chin spoke. The Gambino family is yours, but you're warned. No more unauthorized hits. No more cowboy shit. You follow the rules, or you end up like Paul. John nodded, respectful, humble. Inside, he was laughing. He'd won. He was the boss now, official, approved, untouchable. Or so he thought. The next 5 years were glorious. The John Gotti era, the golden age. The Gambino family made more money than ever. Construction, concrete, every major building in Manhattan. They took a cut, 2%. Doesn't sound like much. Adds up fast on billion-dollar projects. Unions, trucking, garment district, waste management, gambling, loan sharking, everything. Money flowed. Millions every month. John lived like a king. Sammy was right there with him. Underboss, second in command, John's right hand. They were inseparable. Met every day at the Ravenite. Made decisions. Settled disputes. Ordered hits. Sammy handled the details. John was the face. John loved the attention. Loved the cameras, loved being famous. The newspapers called him the Teflon Don because nothing stuck. Arrested 6 times, won every case. Juries loved him, found him charming, found him innocent. A businessman, not a gangster. John played it perfectly. Custom suits, big smiles, waving to cameras, signing autographs, more famous than movie stars. But fame was dangerous. The FBI was watching, always watching. Bruce Mao didn't give up. He knew John killed Paul, couldn't prove it yet. So he built a new case, slowly, carefully, surveillance, 24/7. They followed John everywhere, Sammy too. Watched the Ravenite, cameras across the street, photographed everyone who went in, everyone who came out, license plates, connections, hierarchy. The FBI finally got a warrant to bug the Ravenite. It wasn't easy, months of legal work, endless paperwork. But they got it. They planted bugs everywhere, inside the walls and the ceiling, tiny microphones, undetectable. They also bugged the apartment upstairs, above the club, where John held his private meetings. He thought it was safe. He swept for bugs, regularly, never found a single one. The recording started in November 1989. Everything John said, everything Sammy said, every meeting, every conversation, all of it recorded. John talked openly about murders, about extortion, about family business. He used names, dates, details, just like Paul. History repeating itself. Bruce Mao couldn't believe it. He's making the same mistake. Exactly the same. Paul talked in his house, John's talking in his club. They never learn. The tapes caught something else. John Gotti talking about Sammy, bad things. Sammy's getting too big, too ambitious, thinks he's smarter than me. Maybe he is, someone said. Fuck him, I'm the boss. Sometimes he forgets that. Another conversation, different day. Sammy fucked up that construction deal, cost us money. I should kill him just for being stupid. Silence on the tape. Then John laughed. I'm kidding, but he needs to know his place. Bruce Mao listened carefully. An idea formed. What if Sammy heard these tapes? What if Sammy learned what John really thought? What would happen? Maybe Sammy could flip. Sammy Gravano was loyal. For 20 years, never talked, never cooperated. A true believer in Omerta. But everyone has a breaking point. Bruce just had to find Sammy's. December 11th, 1990. The arrests came early morning, just like with Paul. 6 a.m. FBI at the Ravenite. Battering ram. FBI, nobody move. John Gotti was inside. So was Sammy. They arrested John, cuffed him, walked him out. Cameras everywhere. John smiled. I'll be home for dinner, he told reporters, always confident. They arrested Sammy too, handcuffed, still confident. This is bullshit, we didn't do anything. They had. The FBI knew. They had it all on tape. The arraignment was devastating. Federal court, Brooklyn. The prosecutor stood. Read the charges, murder, 13 murders. John Gotti, Sammy Gravano, named specifically. RICO violations, extortion, illegal gambling, jury tampering. The list went on and on and on. Then the prosecutor played a recording. In court, John's voice, crystal clear. We hit Paul. Had to be done. He was gonna talk. The courtroom gasped. John's face turned red. Sammy felt his stomach turn. "We have hundreds of hours," the prosecutor said. "These men on tape, planning crimes, committing crimes, discussing murders, in their own words." The judge looked at John, then at Sammy. "Bail denied. Both of you. You'll remain in custody pending trial." John exploded. "This is bullshit. Fucking frame job. You can't do this." They could. They did. Metropolitan Correctional Center, Lower Manhattan Federal Prison. John and Sammy were separated, different floors, different cells, no contact, no planning, isolated by design. Sammy sat in his cell. Concrete walls, metal bunk, small window. He'd been in prison before, short sentences, always got out. This was different. Life in prison, no parole. He was 45 years old. His life was over, unless he cooperated. The thought made him sick. Omerta, the rule, never talk, never betray the family. He lived by it his whole life, but life in prison, never seeing his kids again, never seeing his wife again, growing old in a cage, dying in a cage. Was loyalty worth that? 3 weeks later, a visitor, his lawyer. "I need to talk to you about what?" "About cooperating." "No. Sammy, listen. I said no. The FBI wants a deal. I don't make deals." The lawyer sighed, opened his briefcase, pulled out papers, transcripts. "You need to read these. What are they?" FBI recordings, John talking. "About you." Sammy's stomach turned. "What do you mean, just read?" Sammy read, page after page, every page worse than the last. John calling him stupid, greedy, ambitious, saying he should kill him, saying he was a problem, saying he didn't respect him, 20 years of loyalty. Was this what John really thought? Anger rose, burning. "Is this real?" Sammy asked. "It's real. The FBI has the tapes. They'll play them in court." John said this? "Yes." Sammy stared at the wall. Everything he believed was a lie. John never respected him. He just used him. 20 years. All bullshit. "I want to hear them," Sammy said. "The tapes. You sure?" "I'm sure." 2 days later, FBI agents came. A tape recorder. They sat with Sammy. They pressed play. John's voice, clear, undeniable. Sammy's a fucking idiot. Should have killed him years ago, and getting too big, thinks he's the boss. Sammy didn't move, face like stone. Inside, everything shattered. When the tapes ended, Sammy looked at the agents. Bruce Mao was one of them. "I want a deal." "What kind of deal?" "I'll testify. I'll tell you everything about John, about the family, about Paul's murder, about everything. In exchange, 5 years, maximum, and witness protection for my family." Bruce couldn't believe it. Sammy the Bull Gravano, the most loyal soldier, flipping, breaking Omerta. "We can arrange that," Bruce said, "but you give us everything, every murder, every crime, every secret. Nothing held back." "I'll give it. I want it in writing. You'll get it." They shook hands. 20 years of loyalty died in that moment. November 8, 1991, Sammy signed the cooperation agreement. Officially a government witness, a rat, a traitor. He didn't care anymore. John betrayed him first, talked behind his back, planned to kill him. So fuck John. Fuck the family. Fuck Omerta. The trial began January 1992, United States versus John Gotti. The biggest mob trial in history. Media everywhere, cameras, reporters, the whole world watching. John sat at the defense table, custom suit, $3,000, perfect hair, that confident smile, like always, but tense. Everyone could see it. He knew Sammy had flipped. He knew what was coming. The prosecutor stood. The government calls Salvatore Gravano. The courtroom went silent. The door opened. Sammy walked in, head high. No shame, no guilt, cold determination. He walked to the stand, raised his right hand, swore to tell the truth. Then he sat down and looked directly at John. John stared back, eyes full of hate. Pure hate. "You fucking rat," John mouthed silently. Sammy didn't blink. For 9 days, Sammy testified. Everything, every murder, 19 of them, names, dates, locations, methods. Paul Castellano's murder in detail. Who ordered it? John Gotti. Who planned it? John Gotti. Who approved it? John Gotti. Other murders, dozens of crimes, extortion, racketeering, everything. The jury deliberated 13 hours, then the verdict, guilty on all counts, murder, racketeering, conspiracy, everything. John showed no emotion, stared straight ahead, dying inside. Sentencing came later. Life in prison, no parole. John Gotti would die in a cage, and he did. June 10th, 2002, throat cancer, prison hospital, alone. The Teflon Don finally broken. And Sammy did 5 years, just 5. For 19 murders, he got out in 1994, a free man, new identity, witness protection. In Arizona, Phoenix, new beginning, new life, new name. Jimmy Moran. He thought it was over. He was wrong. February 2000, Phoenix, Arizona. Sammy was arrested again. Local police, not the FBI. The charge, drug trafficking, ecstasy, MDMA. Sammy had started a drug ring. While in witness protection, after cooperating, after getting a deal, he went right back to crime. Couldn't help himself. It was the only life he knew. The trial was quick, evidence overwhelming. Sammy pleaded guilty. The judge was furious. You were given a second chance, a gift, 5 years for 19 murders, and you wasted it on drugs. Sentence, 20 years. Federal prison. Sammy served 19 years for drugs, 5 years for 19 murders. Think about that. The justice system, does it make sense? September 18th, 2017, Sammy was released, 72 years old. White hair, wrinkled face, still alive. John Gotti had been dead for 15 years. Most of the Gambino family, dead or in prison. The golden age, long gone. And Sammy? Sammy started a podcast. Our Thing. He talks about his life, the murders, the betrayals, everything. He makes money, started a YouTube channel, thousands of subscribers, hundreds of thousands of views, merchandise, t-shirts. Sammy the Bull products, people love him, think he's cool. A legend, a gangster, interviews, documentaries, TV shows, paid, living his best life. While John Gotti rots in the ground. So what's the lesson? In the mob, in that life, there is no loyalty. Everyone betrays everyone, it's just timing. Who talks first? Who saves themselves? Who throws everyone else under the bus? Omerta. The code of silence? A joke. Always was. Everyone breaks. Sammy broke. Eddie broke. Hundreds of others broke. Who didn't break? The dead. Today, Sammy is 79. Still alive, still talking, still making money from that life, from the murders, from the betrayal. John Gotti? Dead for over 20 years. His legacy? Destroyed by a rat, his best friend, his brother, his underboss. 20 years of loyalty. Erased by 9 days of testimony. So tell me, who won? The loyal boss who died in prison? Or the rat who walks free? You decide. Because in the end, in that world, there are no winners, only survivors. And the real question isn't loyalty. The real question is, who's willing to betray first?